What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This here's Legitical Response. Now, this morning, a report dropped from Congressman Clay Higgins, who just so happens to be my congressman, by the way, who I did say in the past I didn't vote for in the primary because he voted for some stuff I didn't like. However, I do like him on the congressional committee hearings. He did win his primary, so, that's all null and void. But let's get into his report because he's on the investigative team investigating the Trump assassination, so we're going to get into a little bit of that. So let's get into this right quick. I got a news article and some of the actual document I want to show you guys. This is amazing stuff, and it'll probably blow your freaking mind. Check this out. Thomas Matthew Crooks's body was gone when Rep tried to examine. The body of the 20-year-old who tried to assassinate President Donald Trump was gone when Rep. Clay Higgins tried to inspect it as part of an investigation into the shooting, the congressman revealed in a preliminary investigation report. Or they should have put investigative report, but, whatever. Thomas Matthew Crooks was shot dead by the Secret Service after he opened fire from a rooftop while Trump was speaking at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania on July 13th. Blah, blah, blah. We know that. The former president sustained an ear injury while a bystander was killed and two others were injured. Higgins, a Louisiana Republican who is on the House task force investigating the shooting, detailed some of his findings after a 3-day trip to Butler earlier in August. In the report, Higgins wrote that he had attempted to examine Crooks's body but was unable to do so and alleged the FBI was obstructing further investigative efforts. My effort to examine Crooks' body on Monday, August 5th, caused quite a stir and revealed a disturbing fact. The FBI released the body for cremation 10 days after J13, Higgins wrote in the report. On J23 or July 23rd, Crooks was gone. Nobody knew this until Monday, August 5th, including the county coroner, law enforcement, sheriff, etc. Higgins said the Butler County coroner technically had legal authority over the body, but I spoke with the coroner and he would have never released Crooks's body to the family for cremation or burial without specific permission from the FBI. Now, this is mind-blowing to me. So, the FBI is obstructing any further investigation from anybody, right? So they released it on July 23rd. They released the body, knowing that the investigators from Congress would be going to investigate this. They also released the crime scene. Like, they got up on the roof and pressure washed the freaking roof so nobody else could get DNA evidence if they wanted it. It's like, hands off, everybody. Just, we'll take care of everything. Trust us. The FBI, the same people that brought you the Gretchen Whitmer plot. Right? The same people who were going arresting people for peacefully protesting on January 6th. The same FBI who is going arresting peaceful protesters for protesting outside abortion clinics. The same people that put an FBI informant in the Catholic Church to be an informant for them for some freaking reason, right? Like, why would they do that? Why are they doing this? Why are they impeding the investigation from Congress? They released the freaking body, right? Now, they've done the autopsy report, of course. However, nobody else can do an autopsy. Like, if we want a second opinion, nobody else can examine the body because it's been cremated. Why? Why would they do that? This is insane. Like he said, the coroner would have never done that. They could have kept it for God knows how long. For God knows how long. This is insane. He also wrote that similar to releasing the crime scene and scrubbing crime scene biological evidence, this action by the FBI can only be described by any reasonable man as an obstruction to any following investigative effort. Higgins' report also noted that both the coroner's report and the autopsy report are late. The problem with me not being able to examine the actual body is that I won't know 100% if the coroner's report and the autopsy report are accurate. We will actually never know, he wrote. Now, a lot of questions, like when I was reading a lot of this, I was going through X, because he posted the letter on X, and I was looking at a lot of the replies to the post, and they're like kind of going after Higgins on this one, like, well, you're not a medical coroner, you're not a doctor, you don't know what the hell you're looking at, blah 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 blah. And all this is true. This is all true. However, what they don't know is that Clay Higgins not only was a sheriff deputy, a sheriff, and a homicide detective for, I think, St. Landry's Parish, I believe. I didn't research that, but that's just from memory because that's right next door to me. It's just a couple of parishes over. It's not that far away. For 30 years, this guy was in law enforcement, so I think he knows how to read an autopsy report. I think he knows what he's looking for. He was a homicide detective, for crying out loud, so I believe he is well qualified to examine the body, look at all the evidence, and make a pretty good investigative report about doing this. That's probably why he's on this task force. That's probably why he went out there to Butler, PA, to go look at all this, to go look at all this evidence, to check the crime scene. He was there for 3 days. He got help from everybody. The letter reflected well upon the Butler County Sheriff, the EMS, everybody involved. Reflects well on them from his report. He said they helped out. They were very friendly and gave him, a wide berth on what to look at and, where everything was and blah, 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 blah. And he went on and on about them. He was praising these people, but excoriating the FBI, as a matter of fact, because why would they do that? Right. They're trying to keep the investigation to themselves. This is bad news for the American people. This is bad news for transparency's sake, for crying out loud. Higgins submitted his report to Rep. Mike Kelly, the chairman of the task force, on Monday. His office said in a news release on Thursday it details some of the congressman's findings so far, but is not exhaustive nor final, the release said. As I have said, every question will be answered, every theory explored, and every doubt erased. The American people deserve the full truth on the attempted assassination of President Trump, Higgins said in a statement. Our investigative efforts are moving forward in good faith. The release of my preliminary investigative report is reflective of my desire to deliver transparency and reassurance to the American people, blah, blah, blah. We get it. Now, I'm going to read directly from the report itself. It's going to kind of go over some of the stuff that was in the news article, but he goes into some stuff much further. Let's get into it. The coroner's report and autopsy report are both late. As of Monday, August 5th, they were a week late, as a matter of fact. Why? I wonder why that is. That's issue. The problem with me not being able to examine the actual body is that I won't know 100% if the coroner's report and the autopsy report are accurate. We will actually never know. Yes, we will get the reports and pictures, etc., but I will never be able to say with certainty that those reports and pictures are accurate according to my own examination of the body. Again, similar to releasing the crime scene and scrubbing crime scene biological evidence, this action by the FBI can only be described as reasonable as obstruction. Yeah, we already read that. Please note, Mr. Chairman, that on July 23rd, the day that Crooks was cremated, both Homeland Security Committee and the Oversight Committee had begun House Committee jurisdictional investigation into J13, and Speaker Johnson had already stated that he was forming an official congressional investigative body. Why, then, by what measure would the FBI release his body to the family for cremation? This pattern of investigative scorched earth by the FBI is quite troubling. Like I was stating earlier, this is quite troubling. It's like they're trying to hide something. Once again, the main theory, or at least that I have, and I know a lot of people have this theory, is that this was intentional incompetence, right? That they allowed this to happen. As a matter of fact, there's a photo that just surfaced. I'm going to try to find it to put it on the video right here. As a matter of fact, I don't have it as of recording this, but as I'm editing, I'm going to go through and try to find it, and blah, blah, blah. If it's here, then that means, Jay, I found it. But there's a photo of taking a screenshot from somebody's video of Crooks walking around, and it looks like he's carrying a freaking gun. It looks like he's carrying an AR-15, which is, I believe, what he used, or something like that. I believe. We don't know. They won't release that information, as a matter of fact. Once again, obfuscating the truth, obfuscating the investigation from congressional investigators. This is BS, in my opinion. Why are they trying to cover this up? What are they trying to hide? That's what I would like to know. I would really love to know this, because this is just insane to me that the FBI has actually scrubbed the crime scene and released it only 3 days. The FBI released all first responders that evening, much to everybody's surprise. I interviewed several EMS cops, etc. The FBI released the crime scene after just 3 days, much to everyone's surprise. I interviewed several first responders who expressed everything from surprise to dismay to suspicion regarding the fact that the FBI released the crime scene so early after J13. It should be noted that the FBI was fully aware of the fact that Congress would be investigating J13. The FBI does not exist in a vacuum. They had to know that releasing the J13 crime scene would injure the immediate observations of any following investigation. The FBI cleaned up biological evidence from the crime scene, which is unheard of. Cops don't do that ever. And once again, like I said, this guy would know. He was in law enforcement for 30 plus years. So they released they are intentionally trying to cover this up. That is the only conclusion you can derive from these actions. For crying out loud. And I want to know why. I want to know what exactly are they... Why? Like, what is the purpose of doing this? What is the purpose of cleaning up the crime scene and not letting any other investigative body come in to investigate this on their own? Why won't they release any of the DNA evidence so congressional investigators can go and send this off to a lab to make sure the blah, blah, you know what I'm saying, to do their investigative stuff that they do, because they do stuff like that, I guess. But it's just crazy to me. It's like, what are they trying to hide here? There are so many questions. And now that the FBI is going through releasing the body so it can be cremated, that is very strange to me. You look into stuff like this, and like Clay Higgins talked about this in his report, that normally on these investigations, you don't release the body just 10 days later. The suspect's family, you know, they want their closure, but, you know, you got an investigation going on. You need to leave all this stuff open for a little while. I don't know why they would break with norms to give the body away that quickly. It makes no sense. Normally, it takes much longer to do things like this, to release the body to the family so they can have their closure, so they can do whatever, right? And then it was cremated on top of that. That blows my freaking mind. Like, I know cremation is standard, but it's just strange. Once again, covering things up is what it seems to me. Let me know what you think. But with all the theories that's going on around this thing, right? Like intentional incompetence coming from the Secret Service. Now the FBI seems to be working hand in hand with the Secret Service on this, because there's so many security failures. I mean, we've talked about those at length. If you haven't seen my videos on those, go check those out. They're very interesting, if you will. But, you know, like, once again, it's almost impossible for this to be just security failures. I mean, we're not even getting an official story from these people, right? There's no official story. We don't know the exact type of gun. They haven't released that information to the public yet, or at least to my knowledge. I haven't seen it, and I'm constantly in the news. Would have figured I would have came across that. Maybe they have, and I just haven't come across it. I have no idea, but I have searched, and I haven't found that information. But you know, we know that there were 2 shots from snipers fired at Crooks. One hit the gun. Yeah, I read this in the report. Hit the gun, and it fragmented the barrel of the gun into his face. And then the second shot come from a different sniper that actually killed him. Just craziness going on. Like, it's still, once again, how is he able to get up to that roof? We saw the video of him running across the roof. Nobody took a shot at him at that point. We knew he wasn't a counter sniper. He wasn't with them because the clothes he was wearing. No Secret Service agent or any local PD is going to be wearing khaki pants and a white t-shirt, for crying out loud. No, I'm sorry. So that's not a police officer, a sniper, none of that. They still took no action. Dude had to set up his shot. Right, these snipers were looking in that direction. We saw the video. Them looking in that direction. They had a scope. They could have saw him with a gun. Him getting on the roof, laying down, lining up his freaking shot. No action. Nothing. Nothing whatsoever. So many questions revolve around this thing that need to be answered. And I've speculated, I've said in the past, and I still believe this, I don't think we're going to get answers to any of these questions at all. I don't think, because who is going to admit the intentional incompetence, right? Who's going to admit that they did that? But once again, another issue with this, the radios. The local PD had radios set up just for this situation. Just for if they needed to communicate with Secret Service. And Secret Service didn't take the radios. They didn't go to the security briefing that morning. So this was intentional. Once again, why would you not do those things? These are simple things. Like the last video I made about Trump assassination. All you would have to do is send a single person to go to that security briefing that morning. He could have got the radios, distributed the radios to the counter snipers, or to whoever, to a couple of the guys that were on stage with Trump who would actually be protecting Trump. Could have distributed that. They could have communicated to those guys when those people 2 minutes beforehand were yelling, hey, there's a guy with a gun on the freaking roof. They could have radioed, got a guy with a gun on the roof, get Trump off the stage. Could have done that. Once again, not going to the briefing, not taking the radios, that's intentional. Those people, whoever made the decision not to go to that morning briefing and not to take those radios, should be fired and criminally investigated, in my opinion. Right? Like, not all the Secret Service are going to be in on it. You don't need that. You don't need that whatsoever. You just need one to maybe two people and top levels, on the ground, top levels people on the ground, that made the decisions to not cooperate with local PD. Whoever made the decision not to put that building within the security perimeter when there's a clear line of sight from that building. These people need to be investigated. And I really hope this congressional committee gets into that. I really hope so. I hope they interview everybody. I hope they interview all of these people. And I would like to see the person responsible for not going to that security briefing, not taking those radios, brought up in front of a congressional committee hearing and blasted for the American people to see. Because I want to know what happened here. I'm sure you guys want to know what happened here. That's why you clicked on the video, for crying out loud. But I think I've rambled on for long enough on this one. I want y'all to let me know what y'all think. Give me your theories. Let me know what you think happened. And that's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching. Y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.